You've tuned in to the Crispy Noodle Podcast.
You realize what you've done?
With Rich Liebig.
The real gangster plays his cards, right?
And Michael Costanzo.
What was that you just read?
Let us be the Crispy Noodle in your vegetarian salad of life and boring news.
Good times, noodle salad.
The point is, you now have the ability to be happy.
And now, here's Rich and Mike on the Crispy Noodle Podcast.
Yeah! How you guys doing?
What's up, everybody?
It's time for this week's episode of the Crispy Noodle Podcast. Let us be the Crispy Noodle in your vegetarian salad of life and boring news. We've got a lot of news to get to between sports, a lot of big things happening with a certain team.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, we're going to get to that in just a little bit. Some entertainment news and odd news, of course, to round out the list of topics. But before we get to all of the news that is fit at hand, we like to do a little personal bit to let you know what we've been up to personally since last week's episode. So, Mikey, my friend, how are you doing? How's Costanzo country?
It's good. I recently got a chance to rewatch Conclave because the Academy Award nominations were announced, of course.
We'll get to that in just a little bit.
Yep, and I had the opportunity to share in that movie with my parents and Jordan and get their opinions of it. And I guess we'll get to that later.
Yeah, we nice tease. We can tease that.
But I did that. Obviously,
Yeah.
I watched some football, which we'll get to as well. So
you are teasing everything coming up.
Well, that was my entire weekend, was just those two things.
Okay.
So, yeah. Very, very basic stuff on my end.
Oh,
but,
okay.
Yeah, what were you up to?
All right. Well, I guess this is appropriate because I'm going to share something with you, and you're going to freak out.
Okay.
I finished Inscryption.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Okay, so you finished it. You beat
Yes.
all the different various versions of the game.
Yes. I'm not going to get into spoilers
Yeah.
because obviously people have been playing it, and it's a little bit of a long game.
It is.
I was quite surprised at how long it lasts.
I kept saying that you think it's one thing, and then it completely changes, and then it does that like 2 or 3 times.
Yeah. Each act of the game is almost like its own game.
Yeah, they're wildly different.
Yeah. I mean, there are some things that carry over, but the way that the game throws you curveballs between each act and each boss, it's almost like a new game altogether.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. They were very creative with some of the rules and everything. I mean, for it being just a standard card game, it did not get boring.
No, not at all. And that's exactly what the game is so good at doing, is that it lulls you into this sense of like, okay, I know what to expect. I have whatever the preferred strategy is. And then all of a sudden you get to a point, it's like, surprise, that no longer matters or makes sense because here's this entirely different mechanic layered on top of it.
Yeah. It was
so freaking good.
And each of the acts, you're required to change up your strategy because it doesn't play exactly the same.
Yeah.
In between, and then the story behind it I thought was really cool. It is frustrating though. You do have to die a lot. So,
yes, you do. Yeah.
So unfortunately, if you are one of those players that get frustrated by constant dying, this may not be the game for you.
But at a certain point, I don't know about you, but for me, it like clicked, and all of a sudden I was like, oh, I kind of am seeing the strategy here. And it started to get, like, each time I went through it, it got a little bit more efficient and easier to figure out what I needed to do and how to actually go about doing it. Like, it almost like at some point it like clicked and it all just kind of fell into place for me.
Yeah, you do benefit in a game like this, taking a breath and stepping away, clearing your mind, doing something else, and then coming back to the game. Because sometimes you'll see the cards arranged in a different way, and you're like, oh, I should do this instead of that.
Yeah.
And then that's like the key to get to the next level.
There was, at one point playing that game, like early on in Act 1, I'm like, I'm never going to beat this freaking thing.
Yeah.
Like, I'm never going to be able to beat this boss guy. And then, it's like some switch flipped, and then it just was like soared through Act 1, and then Act 2 is just like completely different.
Yeah.
And then,
Yeah, not giving away spoilers.
No, I'm trying to stay very, very vague. But again, for anybody who's interested, it's available on like most major platforms, and it combines like a deck building game with like roguelite elements where you have to constantly like die and repeat to get a little bit better each time. And then there's like, the only way I can describe it is like a weird escape room mechanic as well. Weirdly built in.
There's like a story within a story.
Yeah.
And I like that. That was cool. Little storyception for you for your video game.
I want just like a standalone version of like the base Act 1 game, because the base Act 1 game is like stupidly fun, like the card game.
Well, I mean, I guess you could just replay Act 1 if that suits your fancy.
It's just so good. Every once in a while, I'll go on like Etsy to see if somebody's made like a physical version, and they're out there. They're just expensive because they're all like handmade. I'm like, I'm not going to spend.
Also, though, I think that ruins the mechanic of you dying and creating a card. I thought that was really cool.
That was a cool mechanic.
That when you die, you get to merge like bits of your hand together to create a custom card. That I never seen anything like that in a game before.
Yeah,
I thought that was pretty cool. And then in one of the acts, you flat out get to make your own card and name it. I loved that. One of my cards was called Mr. Shoot You.
Mr. Shoot You?
Yeah, it would come on the board, do 4 damage, and leave.
Just that very much fits your style. Just run and gun. Just like pop in, and then
bye.
Yep.
Hi, bye.
Yep. That sums you up perfectly. Just run and gun.
Yep, Mr. Shoot You. That was one of my favorite cards.
Yeah, no, the game is just fantastic. It's one of those rare games where I wish I could like wipe my memory and go back to it completely blind.
Yeah. I'm gonna say for the average gamer, I think it might be worth a playthrough. If you are one of those though that doesn't like. You know, if you're not a fan of was it Dark Souls that you die all, if you're one of those that you don't like that kind of mechanic, I would say stay away though, because you will throw your controller at some point because it is very frustrating.
It does get frustrating.
But if you can stomach that part and build your custom cards and make your way through it, it is worth a playthrough, and it's a good story, and I enjoyed it.
Yeah, no, definitely, I highly recommend it.
Yeah. All right, so there you go. I'm good. We kept that spoiler free, so everyone should be happy. We'll discuss the ending after the show or something.
Yes.
But there you go. That is what we've been up to in the past week or so. But there is definitely something that is on our minds. So let's launch into the first batch of topics that do revolve around what is on our minds. Sports in the sports sampler.
So you're not good at sports. It's a very small part of life.
Sports. In your face. Ha ha!
That's right. And it is time to announce the Eagles are your NFC champions.
Mamma mia!
Boobies.
Who this guy think he's an Indian?
Like fresh eggs?
Wow. What a game on Sunday. The Eagles pulled it off. An impressive second half in this game to put on one of the highest totals, I think, ever in a conference championship game.
I think it is the highest scoring NFC Championship game.
55-23, defeating the Washington Commanders and advancing to the Super Bowl. This is the third Super Bowl that we are going to cover while we have done the podcast. This is amazing.
I mean,
where do you want to begin with this game?
I mean,
do you want me to start? You're already just...
No, I mean, every time I think about it again, I'm like, it is just so incredible that we are back here again for the third time in 8 years.
Yes.
I mean, as a kid, watching so many championship game losses back to back to back, and then finally make it to the Super Bowl and lose, and then thinking, well, crap.
That was our shot. Yep.
I mean, that's it. I'm like, I'll never see this again. And now this is the fourth time in our lifetime that we'll be watching the Eagles in the Super Bowl. And that's just like, absolutely jaw-droppingly amazing to me growing up with those early 2000s Eagles and being like, we're never getting back.
Yeah.
You know, but in terms of the game specifically, I mean, man, you cannot ask for a more perfect game. I mean, on all cylinders, it seemed like offense, defense, special teams point to a negative. You can't. You can't. Are you going to try?
Jake Elliott, help.
I'm going to ignore Jake
Yeah.
Elliott because as long as Saquon Barkley is doing Saquon Barkley stuff,
Right.
we don't have to worry about Jake Elliott.
That would be nice.
Yeah.
I would like that.
Yeah. Okay, Jake Elliott's the one that, wow, way to rain on everybody's
No.
parade. Oh, geez, all right, everybody, roll up the banners, forget it. No, we're not celebrating this year.
No. I will. No, the Eagles definitely had a great game. Definitely in the second half. I mean, it really showed that they deserved to be here between all.
Yeah.
It just seemed like everybody at every level, at every part of the depth chart came through in the second half.
Yeah.
Because there was a lot of moving pieces in this.
Yeah.
Cam Jurgens was hurt, and then
Landon Dickerson
went out, and then they had to put Cam Jurgens back in.
And remember, right before the playoffs, Nakobe Dean goes down.
Yeah.
You know, so we've been dealing with missing one of our key starters on defense. We all forget that Brandon Graham's been out like the past, forget how many, like 2-3 months.
Yep.
So, you know, it was definitely, you know, going into the playoffs, I was like, okay, we definitely have a shot. But there were some teams that I was really worried about, i.e. the Lions and the Vikings.
And we never had to face them.
They got taken care of.
Yeah.
And then we handled our business, and everyone was like, man, the Commanders, what a magical season. And we're just like, nope.
Yeah. Although I will say, right now, enjoy the win, enjoy the Super Bowl hype, enjoy it. But I will say, in the future, Jaden Daniels is legit. He did not make a single mistake in the first half of that NFC Championship game. The mistakes came from his other teammates that were holding on to the ball and fumbled it.
Yeah.
He played that first half. Jaden Daniels played beautifully. People are also forgetting, too, he led a quick score with only like 40 seconds left on the clock and no timeouts to get a crucial 3 points that made it a one-score game going into halftime.
Yeah.
This was a close game. But it's just that in the second half, Eagles were able to pull away.
Yeah.
But I just want to say, Jaden Daniels had a great game. He is legit. I am going to be worried in the future, when we start doing future seasons, that Washington could be a very strong contender to take over the division. But for right now, Eagles did get the job done, and it was amazing.
Yeah. But you know what? Just to follow up on that, I completely agree about the Jaden Daniels thing. Immediately after the game, that's what was on my mind was, like, obviously what we won. I was basking in the victory, but I was like, wow, after having to go against Jaden Daniels 3 times this year, I'm like, that kid is for real.
Yeah. Washington has found its franchise quarterback.
Yeah, he does not play like a rookie. Like, he came in cool, calm, composed. He led that team, and yeah, he had the interception. People look at the stat line and say, "Oh, he threw a pick," but that was
that was at the end of the game when you're desperate.
Exactly, that was a desperation throw and interception. So you kind of take that off the scorecard, in my mind. And other than that, he played a fantastic game.
That first half, he was nearly flawless.
The opening drive, they just marched down the field. Yes, we held them to a field goal, but it was just very methodic. 18 plays. Drove all the way down, converted 2 fourth downs. Like, this kid was not phased.
No.
At all. Like, gutsy calls on, 4th and 5.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, my God. Like, in that first half, I was like, this is going to be a really tough game. I was like, uh-oh.
Yep, but
I started to buy into the hype of the Commanders, and then we just pulled away.
Saquon Barkley saves the day. His first 60-yard touchdown run, unbelievable.
They put up the stat. It was like his first 3 touches. What was it?
2 of them were touchdowns.
2 of them were touchdowns. He had like 100 yards on 3 carries for like 2 touchdowns, something stupid like that.
Yeah,
and that's the difference maker right there.
It is.
A team can methodically drive the ball on us. And, it took them however long, and then we answer back in like 12 seconds.
They're going to have to do that with the Chiefs on deck in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But another thing I want to mention during this Eagles game, how about the ridiculous goal line tush push that ended up being a threat from the referees that if Washington committed another offsides penalty, that they were going to just award the Eagles a touchdown. I had never heard that before in my watching of football. I've been following football since Brett Favre.
Yeah.
I have never heard that ushered by the referees as like a threat to the other team to stop what you're doing, please.
No, I knew somewhere in the recesses of my mind that it was possible, but it's something that I've never actively thought about until that moment. And I was like, oh my God. I was like, I don't think this has ever happened before in a game. I so badly wanted it to happen.
I know. I was like, oh my gosh,
do
it.
I was like,
do it again.
Just get up there every time and just keep on hard counting and calling time. Do whatever it takes. Like spit in their faces, something. Just force them to jump off sides. I just wanted to see it so bad.
I wanted to see it listed in the box score. How did they put that in the box score? Because you know the format. It's like, touchdown. Jaden Daniels throws to Terry McLaurin. 8-yard touchdown throw. It gives you how it's scored. How do you
It'd
label?
probably just be who was the ref? Sean Hockley? It's just
know.
like touchdown awarded. Sean Hockley.
I did it.
Yeah.
He actually gets listed under the Eagles stat side of the chart.
Does he get a line item in like the stats? One touchdown, Sean Hockley.
I'll tell you what. You know what's going to happen after this game?
Wait, who gets credited for the touchdown?
I know, that's what I was saying. Who gets exactly? That's what I want to know. But you know what's going to happen after this now? I bet you it's going to be something you can bet on now on sports books. Will there be a touchdown awarded by a referee 200-1 or something?
Something ridiculous.
Still has never happened in an NFL game, but we came really close in this one.
I wanted it to happen so bad.
Yeah.
I mean, that was the most ridiculous series of events ever. I mean, one, what's his name? Luvu is... He's kind of a dirty player. He jumped and they show the camera of his face sticking out his tongue. Like he was like, ha ha ha, yeah. But then it happens a second time and Hurts jumps out of the way. Oh man. Then I'm like, they're toying with them.
Yeah.
And then they draw them off sides again, and then they're just defeated. From that moment on, I think it was that series where in the back of my head I was like, we're going to the Super Bowl.
Yep, they got him.
I think that was the play. I was like, they are so in their heads. The Redskins are literally going to give us a touchdown by default.
Yeah, and
I'm like,
there.
It was at that moment where I was like, we're going to the Super Bowl.
Yeah. It's a shame, too, because I actually do understand kind of Luvu's
It's the only way to stop
logic.
it.
Yeah. So first off, it's the only way to stop it, but also the penalty is only half the distance to the goal, and they're already on the 1 yard line. So who cares about 6 inches?
Right. And and in his mind, it's just like the offensive line can wear a defensive line out, you hope that the constant start and stop might wear the offensive line out before they got to make their big push.
Yeah.
Something like that. But
unfortunately, they did forget about the rule that the referee can award a penalty
and
or a touchdown
when
on a
you
penalty.
look at the rule in the context of what happened, you're like, it makes sense that there's that rule there because hypothetically a team could just be some raging asshats and just, stall the entire game for everybody by constantly getting penalties intentionally. So
that was interesting. I never heard a threat like that being made by a referee before.
That was and on like the second biggest stage in NFL football.
Washington has been warned again. like wow, just take the little paddle out and spank Luvu on the wasn't it Luvu?
Luvu, I
think. Yeah, spank him on the butt. Yeah.
But that's
paddling.
That's paddling. But no, that was just absolutely incredible. Because it's just another example of our dominance as well.
Yeah.
That not only physically but mentally we were able to get in their heads, and that final moment where we did actually end up snapping the ball and pushing it in, they like surged forward for like 4 yards into the end zone because the defense was on their heels. They're like, we can't risk jumping again.
Yep.
And
it was all beautiful. And then in the fourth quarter, it was just child's play. I mean, you had Kenny Pickett coming in for a couple snaps. Yeah. You had Will Shipley scoring a touchdown.
His first career touchdown. And also the fact that Saquon Barkley puts his helmet back on and rushes back onto the field to celebrate with him. He was so freaking happy for that kid. I was like, that's why we have the best freaking team in sports.
Yeah, Saquon, I know he's probably...
I think we spent all these years rooting against him when he played for the Giants.
I know he's probably not going to win MVP, but it's a damn shame. It should not be locked out because he's a running back. He really should.
Who deserves it more?
Well, I mean, the MVP always goes to a quarterback.
Well, I know that,
blah, blah, blah.
but who deserves it more than Saquon Barkley?
I mean, look, you're not going to get an argument from me, but unfortunately,
Are they going to pick one of the losing quarterbacks?
yeah, because it's a season award.
Well, the season's still going on. There's only 2 quarterbacks left. I mean, that's always been my opinion of MVP.
But they vote in the season. They don't vote. They don't vote now.
Well, that's stupid.
Right? It is stupid. They really should.
I disagree with that methodology because they're going to be like Josh Allen.
Yeah,
Josh Allen's sitting at home twiddling his thumbs.
Yeah, they're probably so. Do you want?
No, they'll probably give it to Lamar Jackson again.
Yeah. But so before we get to the future topics, should we mention the AFC? Because that was a tight game too.
Why don't we talk
Chiefs
about them?
Pulling out isn't this? This has to be like their 6th or 7th trip to the.
It is 7.
Oh my God.
7. Well, I know they've made 7 championship game appearances. I don't know how many Super Bowls, but
I guess 6 because they only lost the one to the Bengals.
Yeah, I guess.
I think so. God. So here you go, man. And this is something I got to give people like Rich Eisen credit for. They kept saying week in and week out the number one story of this NFL season. You could say whatever you want about your favorite team, what you think was very dramatic, whatever. But at the end of the day, the number one storyline of the 2024 season is going to be, and still remains heading into Super Bowl week, is going to be, can Kansas City be the first 3-peat team? And they are knocking on the door right now.
The NFL wants it so freaking bad, and it annoys me beyond belief. The number of times it is mentioned, in the back of my head, I'm like,
I mean, it is legitimate though, because the Patriots were the last time that they could attempt a 3-peat.
There was a shot, yeah.
This does not happen in the NFL. It's supposed to be not designed to be like this.
I'm not a fan of it because, one, I really dislike the Chiefs anymore.
Who besides people in Kansas City is actively rooting for the Chiefs? Dallas fans?
Maybe Dallas fans, maybe. But the other reason I don't like it is because there's some shenanigans going on with Kansas City and penalties and reffing in games.
Mm-hmm. Well, my shtick is I can't stand the slide. The slide needs to be. They need this offseason, the competition committee needs to review slides. They need to come up with a better way for the quarterback to give up himself, because Mahomes takes advantage of the whole, oh, I'm sliding. Oh, no, I'm not really. Oh, you don't know. Am I really sliding? Am I not sliding? And then when the defense does the wrong thing that they're supposed to do, it's either a 15-yard penalty or a 15-yard extra gain by Mahomes. So it's like all Mahomes has to do is just do that weird fake slide. Boom, he gets extra yardage. It's unfair.
Yeah, it's really, really frustrating. And I don't know why. I've just been reflecting on this a lot recently in just conversations with people and NFL dynasties. And in my head, I'm always thinking like, at least the NFL actively disliked and penalized the Patriots.
Yeah, they never liked the Patriots.
They were constantly investigating them for slightly deflated balls, and did they maybe see the Eagles' signals in that Super Bowl, and maybe Bill Belichick did something weird constantly. But the Chiefs, they're just like, give me another, daddy. They're like, like literally though. Rich, I should have sent you the graphic before.
Well, it was very erotic. Yes, indeed. It was erotic.
I should have.
Roger Goodell he's just touching himself to Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce.
I should have sent you the graphic before.
Well, it was very erotic. Yes, indeed. It was erotic.
Wow.
I should have sent you the graphic beforehand, but there is a sort of statistic going around of the Chiefs' playoff penalties since 2021. And the number of times that opponents have received more penalties than the Chiefs is 10 times out of 11. And the number of times that opponents have received more penalty yards is 10 times as well, compared to 0 times for the Chiefs for total penalties and only 1 time for penalty yards. So there's like a huge discrepancy. The Chiefs, 36 total penalties, opponents 66 total penalties. Like, one team is never that perfect compared to other teams being that imperfect. Like, you can have two very disciplined teams. You can have two very sloppy teams. But usually if a lot of flags are being thrown, it's on both teams.
Yeah, you try and keep the play calling even on both sides.
But there's a clear disparity.
Penalty calling on both sides, sorry.
Yeah, this was from ESPN. Chiefs playoff penalties since 2021. Opponents more penalties and more penalty yards 10 times compared to the Chiefs 1. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to go so far as to say it's rigged outright, but there does seem to be a little bit of playing favorites.
Yeah, and if I see another fake slide by Mahomes, I want somebody to just level him because that fake slide thing is BS. That's my big pet peeve. I can't stand that because either way, he gets 15 yards.
He's abusing it.
He either gets a penalty or he does the little shifty thing and he runs 15 yards. You can't stop it. It's impossible.
At some point, a defender is going to just treat him like a regular runner and just light him up.
Yeah.
And I say,
hopefully it's not in the Super Bowl.
I say, listen, if you're going to go for it, make it count.
Well, guess what? If he goes down, guess who comes to the front?
Carson Wentz.
Carson Wentz.
And it completes the narrative.
I'm sorry, folks. This is the one thing
They're going to build a statue of Carson Wentz in Kansas City.
If Carson Wentz enters the Super Bowl in 2 weeks
against the Eagles,
I'm going to be convinced the NFL's rigged. That's the writing of a subpar writer trying to come up with a movie script, and that's like the cheesy third act. He's got
the ultimate redemption / revenge.
Yeah. So
I will stop watching the game. I don't know if I could stomach that.
Yeah.
I don't know if I could handle that, honestly.
Right. Well, we're going to find out. Not this Sunday, though, next Sunday. So we got a little bit of time to do some more research. Of course, next week's show, I will come together and have the prop bets. That's next week. And our official Super Bowl picks when we do some research, delve into the nitty-gritty of the matchups and the stats and everything like that. That is all this week leading up. So make sure you tune into next week's episode for all of the Super Bowl numbers and coverage that we're going to do next week.
I did have one final thing to say about the Eagles championship game.
Okay.
They have completed the ritual and scored 55 points to summon Brandon Graham.
Oh,
he's coming off of injured reserve.
Yeah.
And he's going to try to play in the Super Bowl.
I mean, there is another extra week. He could get healthy in time.
Yeah, it's not out of the realm of possibility.
And they just need him for like a couple plays. They cycle him out.
I mean, before he was injured, he only played like 20-some% of the snaps.
Yeah.
He was a rotational guy, but he was playing good football this year.
I think the game he got hurt on, he had 3 sacks or something.
Yeah, he was playing really, really good football. And if it keeps Nolan Smith healthy, who... Can we talk about Nolan Smith for a second? I think he's tied for the most sacks in Eagles postseason history.
And he's only been in 2 games.
He's only been in,
Yeah, interesting.
I mean, the kid's been fantastic ever since Brandon Graham went down. But if you just add that extra rotational piece, keep those defensive line guys quick and healthy against Mahomes.
How about Trotter? Did you see the post Trotter Jr. made?
No.
He had a picture of him when Trotter Sr. made the Super Bowl in 2004, and then he has a picture of him on the field making the Super Bowl this year.
There's a lot of like coming full circle moments. Like also the Super Bowl is on Saquon Barkley, Cooper DeJean, and Vince Papale's birthday.
Oh, there you go. It's all lining up.
I'm not going to get into Super Bowl picks because that's for next week.
That's next week when we do all the analysis and all of the prop bets and everything like that. That'll all be next week, so make sure you are subscribed and you're following to the Crispy Noodle podcast so you get that episode next week. One more thing I want to mention here in the Sports Sampler. There is some actual news other than the championship games and the Super Bowl, and that is the rivals, the Dallas Cowboys. They have come to an agreement on their new head coach. They got rid of Mike McCarthy, and instead they are promoting their offensive coordinator, Brian Schottenheimer, as the new head coach. He is the son of Marty Schottenheimer. Does that interest you at all, that this is the direction that Jerry Jones decided to go in?
I feel like this is a trick question because it seems like a pretty logical jump that you go from, if you're no longer happy with the head coach, you have two options. You can bring in an outside hire, which means new systems, new staff, new personnel, or you promote from within. And Dallas has not been bad offensively, with this season being an outlier, but previously, the past couple of years, they've been pretty good. So it makes sense to bring up the OC. But I feel like there's a trap here.
What, from me?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, that was just a legitimate?
Yeah.
Oh, then I don't see anything wrong with it. I mean, if they continue to lose to the Eagles, I got no problem.
Yeah. So, yeah, as somebody who's an Eagles fan, I'm like, go ahead, have fun. Like, to me, this sounds like a company man within the organization. To me, if they were serious about trying to make any sort of a postseason run in 2025 and beyond, they need some more outside help, not internal help. So, I mean, I don't know. I could be wrong, but
I guess there's two schools of thought where it's like you don't want to upend the whole system, but if the system's not working, maybe you should upend it. It kind of cuts both ways.
Hey, remember at the beginning of the season, the Cowboys were supposed to be all in. Where did they get them? 7-10.
Well, they didn't sign any of their star players, and they didn't want to play because they didn't want to get hurt.
Have fun with that. I mean, I don't know. Look, you know what? I'm happy. Go ahead, Dallas. Brian Schottenheimer. All right. Have fun with that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't care one way or the other because this is clearly a division run by the Eagles.
Yeah, so. I think moving forward, it's going to be Washington versus Philadelphia for the next couple seasons.
I was not expecting that, but after that championship game, even though we trounced them, I was like, oh, no.
Yeah. All right. Well, there is one more reason I wanted to bring up the Dallas Cowboys head coach selection. And that is because Jerry Jones, this was his baby. He tasked himself to find the new head coach.
Of course he did.
Yeah, he did not.
I pray every single night that Jerry Jones lives to like 137.
That's a good age.
And he has his he's mentally there through all 137
Right.
years.
He doesn't sell the franchise.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I'll tell you what, Mike, he is still running the organization and he is still giving out quotes.
Of course he is.
Yep.
Because he can't shut up.
Yep. And he was asked, basically the gist of the question was, kind of like,
should you stop?
Should you have had some other people help you in your search for a new head coach?
Oh, Lord.
And I have the audio here. This is exactly what Jerry Jones said in response to the previous Dallas Cowboys seasons that they have had under his tutelage. Here you go.
There's a very low percentage of this that is smiles and glory holes. Very low percentage.
What is his deal with glory holes?
Why does he keep saying that?
Has nobody told him? You are saying the wrong thing.
And it is a reminder, I've been here when it was glory hole days, and I've been here when it wasn't. And so having said that, I want me some glory hole.
Why does he keep saying glory holes? It is not glory holes.
I'm so baffled. Like the first time it was like maybe it was a flub, but now he's done it again?
There's a very low percentage of this that is smiles and glory holes. Very low percentage.
And smiles and glory holes.
And I'm not buying the whole, it's his accent. No, it's not.
No.
It's a very clear O sound. It's not like all.
Yeah.
It's not like glory hall. It's glory holes. Play it back. It's a hole.
I love that analysis from you, Mike. Yes.
Top tier.
Top tier analysis here on the Crispy Noodle podcast.
There's a very low percentage of this that is smiles and glory holes. Very low percentage.
You hear he's making the O.
Yeah.
The rounded O, not the aw.
No.
No, he's saying glory hole. And he said it multiple times.
Yes. Why has nobody told him in this organization?
If somebody does something awkward one time, it's a mistake. If they do it twice, it was intentional.
Yeah. Like, somebody needs to pull him aside and say, Grandpa,
stop talking about your glory holes.
Yeah, glory holes is not what you think it means. I don't...
It's clear now that he is saying glory holes, and he means glory holes.
I want me some glory hole.
Yeah. Come on, man. Jerry Jones, what are you doing? Somebody, his son, Stephen Jones, he's in the organization. Shake your dad up. This is not the right word.
Isn't his son also like 93 years old? I'm joking.
53, probably.
Probably. Yeah, God bless Jerry Jones with long life.
Yeah, because...
No, literally, please, bless him.
Yes, because he is just handing over just the team every year. Just go ahead. Have fun.
Just amazing.
And it is a reminder, I've been here when it was glory hole days, and I've been here when it wasn't. And so having said that, I want me some glory hole.
Yeah, so now we're getting double the glory hole.
Double glory hole action.
Double, yeah.
There's a very low percentage of this that is smiles and glory holes. Very low percentage.
I also want to know...
It should be zero. There should be zero glory hole
I also want to know smiles and glory holes. Is that like something he got on a Christmas card?
Merry Christmas. May your holidays be filled with smiles and glory holes. He smiles when he goes to the glory hole. During his glory hole days.
May your Christmases be merry and have glory holes.
Doesn't quite have the same flow to it, but
Right.
we'll workshop it.
Yeah, Jerry Jones loves it. That's what
Yeah,
matters.
Exactly.
I want to see that on a card. Smiles and glory holes.
Smiles and
to
glory
you
holes.
and
It does.
yours.
It sounds like Hallmark's evil twin.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
There you go.
He's intentionally saying glory holes, and nobody has the courage to stop him because he has a tyrannical hold on that franchise.
Correct.
And like I said, I say prayers every night that he continues. He continues in that way.
Yes, because as long as that happens, I feel like it's going to be the division between Philly and Washington. And the Giants...
Never thought I'd hear those words.
And the Giants are a hole in the ground. They're not doing anything anytime soon either. So, John Mara's not going to have sleep for the rest of this year.
No, he's going to die from insomnia.
Yeah. All right, so there you go. That is the Sports Sampler. Make sure you tune in next week for our Super Bowl coverage and everything with that. But we got to take a break for right now. But when we come back from the break, we'll have the entertainment entree and the non-fortune cookie odd news coming your way. This is the Crispy Noodle Podcast. We'll be right back.
Ready for the weekend? Happy Friday. Hi, my name's Marie, and I'm an artist who's been making Happy Friday doodles every week for over 7 years. And now you can own my art collection in this Volume 1 and Volume 2 art series. These doodles span across multiple themes, yearly festivities, various countries, languages, and more. Both coffee table books have something for everyone and are the perfect conversation starter or gift for a friend. Really, anyone who enjoys a good weekend. Available on Amazon, Ingram, BookBaby,
Barnes & Noble,
and more. Visit happyfridaydoodles.com/books and get your copies today. Let's celebrate the best day of the week. Happy Friday.
Just a moment, you just assured me that I could speak.
Sit down inside the car. We're not assuring anything. We're under arrest.
Look, I'm under what?
Come on.
Gentlemen, this is Democracy Manifest. Have a look at the headlock here. See that chap over there? Get your hand off my penis! This is the bloke who got me on the penis before.
Get some cups.
Why did you do this to me?
Hop in the car. Get some cups.
For what reason? What is the charge? Eating a meal? A succulent Chinese meal? Oh, that's a nice headlock, sir. Oh, yes. I see that you know your judo well. Good one. And you, sir, are you waiting to receive my limp penis? Now, get your hands off there. Ta-ta and farewell. One cup, look. Slave and broke.
Oh, yeah, we're back here on the Crispy Noodle Podcast. Oh, man, yeah. This is going to be exciting. Chiefs, Eagles, Super Bowl. Rematch. We'll give you our official odds and predictions on next week's episode. But in the meantime, we have current news to get to. This second batch of topics revolve around movies, TV, video games, stuff like that in the entertainment entree.
And now, the latest in movies.
The Simpson guy writes to movies. Dear Die Hard, you rock. Especially when that guy was on the roof.
Music.
I know what that is. That's music.
Video games.
I'm Commander Shepard, and this is my favorite store on the Citadel.
Celebrities.
You really know Warren Beatty? Yes, I do. I took a leak next to him once at the Golden Globes.
And more.
You were the all-singing, all-dancing crap of the world.
This is the entertainment entree.
All right, officially in entertainment entree mode. Before we get to Mike's This Week in Entertainment, I want to give a quick update on a professional wrestling tidbit that we mentioned last week. We were talking a little bit that Hulk Hogan, unfortunately, did not make the news that he wanted to make. He was part of WWE Raw's debut show on Netflix. And he was supposed to be presented as just like your, superstar coming back home. Very heroic it was supposed to be. And he gives this promo where he's talking about how good it is to be back in LA and how good it is to be on Netflix. It was supposed to be very positive, and instead he got booed out of the arena. It was just a chorus of boos raining down on Hulk Hogan. It was startling. It was like it was more than he'd ever gotten as a heel, as a part of the NWO. I mean, it was a clear message of just I don't think we want to see you anymore. Like it was. Yikes. He has just been going through so much controversy recently between his wives, between his politics, between the documentaries that have come out on him that have been accusing him of lying. There's one in particular, I think it was the Mr. McMahon documentary, where they accuse Hulk Hogan of stopping the wrestlers from forming a union against Vince McMahon.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Now he's a union buster.
Yeah.
Jeez. So,
I mean, just all this bad stuff has recently come out against Hulk Hogan, and the fans just had enough of it and booed him on that debut show. Well, WWE might have officially had enough of Hulk Hogan as well, because they had a special event Saturday nights. They had a special show, Saturday night's main event. They did this to honor the old show that was on in the 80s and the 90s. And Hulk Hogan was supposed to be a part of this special show that WWE was putting on. And suddenly, a couple days before Saturday night's main event show, Hulk Hogan claims he's not going to appear due to, quote, a family commitment. Interesting.
Curious.
I mean, that I don't know, a family commitment. Wouldn't you have known about family commitments? It's not like they sprung this on him all of a sudden. Like, hey, Hulk, we're doing this thing on Saturday.
Yeah.
You doing anything?
Family commitment makes it sound like he forgot a birthday.
Yeah.
Not like a sudden thing.
Oh, I forgot a funeral's happening or so. Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, oh no,
I forgot a wedding. Like.
Right. Yeah. Because obviously this main event thing probably been in the works for months. You know,
has to have been
potentially up to a year. I mean, it takes a long time to get contracts negotiated and signed and get all the rights and advertising, yada, yada, yada. So you have to figure he must have been signed on for months. And so family commitment to me is like, oh, there's a birthday that it was a previously scheduled thing. But if it was previously scheduled, would that not have come up during the contracting process?
Let me tell you something, brother. I'm not good with my calendars, brother. I forgot about it.
I mean, isn't he probably old and super concussed?
Yeah,
so
maybe.
Potentially.
I wish I had a secretary, brother. I'm not allowed to have a secretary, actually. Forget about that.
I feel like him and secretaries would not go well together.
Recently.
But no, I mean, it's probably most likely what you said is that, WWE or whoever's, I assume it's WWE putting this on, doesn't want any more flack from trotting Hulk Hogan out just to get, booed off stage again. That's a really bad look.
Yeah. To me, this really does seem like WWE took notice of the crowd and the booing and just said, you know what, Hulk, stay home. I think we're good on this one.
Yeah, and you know what? I think that they should all take it as a moment to reflect and just acknowledge the fact that at a certain point you got to hang it up. There's no reason to dig him up from the grave anyway. Just put him out the pasture.
He can't wrestle.
No.
He can't move.
You said that for his promo for the other thing you mentioned, that he basically just stood up at like the top of the runway and didn't even try to go towards the ring or into the ring. Like, isn't that the whole shtick? Is that like the guys come out and they strut down the walkway, they jump into the ring, they grab the mic, they push a ref, they start, jumping around and shouting. Like, that's the whole thing, right?
Yeah.
I've never watched much wrestling, but I assume that's
you're on the right path, yeah.
Yeah, but he just stood there like, what, some kind of geriatric statue?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
regardless of the booing, it's a bad look.
I don't know if he was even able to do the ear thing, because, I don't know, that's kind of, lifting your arm.
Lift your arm and rotate your hand. He might pull his back,
I mean, it's legitimate. He's
and
old.
I'm not trying to poke fun. Like, I'm at getting to the age where I feel like I'd throw my back if I made any sudden movements too. But yeah, at a certain point, you just got to be honest and be like, listen, you're like old.
Yeah, and
it's time to hang it up.
And you're just not connecting with the audience anymore.
Yeah, times change.
You have to, and you also have to think about like the kids growing up right now, like those that are like 13 to 23. The only thing that they've heard of Hulk Hogan is the stuff, like all the controversy stuff, has been the sex tape, has been the stuff they've heard on documentaries, the third, fourth wife he's on right now,
but also
the endorsement to Trump. Like, that's all that they know.
But also, correct me if I'm wrong, but like, wrestling's main demographic has always been younger audiences.
Yeah. Younger males. Yep.
Younger males. So bringing back somebody like Hulk Hogan, you're like catering to people who were fans of this in the 80s and 90s who are now well into their 30s and 40s. Like, that's not the right demographic.
Right. That's what I'm trying to say.
You're completely missing the mark. Like, you're not going to get any like 12 to 18-year-old guys. You're strictly getting like people your age and older.
Right.
Which is like the wrong people to target.
Right. They want to
We've all got mortgages and loans, and like we don't want to look at Hulk Hogan.
Yeah. And I think the kids coming up too, they don't want to they don't know him. They're like, this guy.
Like, who is this old fart? I want to see, I don't know, some new fun wrestler dude,
Party's over, Grandpa. That Brock Lesnar said it the best.
Yeah. It's time for him to move on.
Yeah.
Give it up. Move on.
So there you go. A quick update for you there. All right. Do we want to do another update? Looks like let's do another update, because you want to talk about the Acolyte. There was a quick update here with this as well.
Yeah. So basically, the story behind the Acolyte is last year. The Acolyte.
This is our update section.
Yeah. Last year, the Acolyte comes out. It was highly anticipated because it's focusing on an area of Star Wars lore that doesn't really get covered that much with non-Skywalker characters. There was a lot of hype surrounding it, but there was an equal amount of controversy surrounding it. After the season, it kind of had middling reviews, but not anything terrible. And then Disney's like, you know what? It was just the worst. We hated it. It wasn't very good. Boo the Acolyte. We hate it. We're canceling it. Fans were very dismayed. And there was a contingent of fans, myself included, that was like, I feel like it's weird that it was canceled and that it probably shouldn't have been. Well, the numbers are in. And we were right. Research from Luminate, as reported by Deadline, reveals that the recently canceled show The Acolyte was actually the second most watched show on Disney Plus in terms of minutes watched. So for context, first place was the Percy Jackson show with 3 billion with a B viewing minutes, and The Acolyte had 2.7 billion viewing minutes. That is notably higher than high-profile shows like Agatha All Along.
I'm surprised at that, because I would have thought Agatha All Along would have catered to a more general audience between Marvel, between the witchiness of it. A lot of girls like Halloween spirit. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
So like,
I was mixing Hollywood from the Hulk Hogan segment.
Hollywood weenie.
Hollywood weenie.
That's something entirely different.
Yeah, not good.
So I will say that
Oh, my balls!
Anyway.
Sorry.
I will say that overall, I did enjoy Agatha All Along more than The Acolyte, but I've always maintained that while The Acolyte is like somewhere between like a 6 and a 7, that it had a lot of room for growth and it had high potential if they just allowed it to continue and to, find itself. But it's, I think, to me, pretty clear now that Disney just straight up caved to toxic Star Wars fans. I mean, let's call it what it is. People were angry that it was a female-led cast, and they didn't like it.
This cannot be made good. It's shameful. It's a shameful, shameful day.
Is there any other way to slice it?
I mean, I want to go so far as to say
second most watched show.
I wouldn't say just because there was a female-led cast, ergo it got canceled. I think that's
most watched show.
I think that's too simplistic. I think the problem was the whole that the witches coven thing. That kind of did not seem like a Star Wars-y thing to I don't know. That I forget what they were called now in the series.
The Night Sisters. Was it Night Sisters, or am I getting things mixed up?
I think it might be, because isn't that the video game?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. I think
the witches part of it. It's like the Star Wars witches.
Yeah, that part was kind of out of left field a little bit. And maybe too the actress. I don't know. Maybe they shouldn't have done like her doing both roles too. I think that's a little too simplistic to say just because it was a female-led cast, therefore it got canceled.
I really think you're overcomplicating it, because we've seen it in the past before out of Star Wars fandom. I mean, sci-fi and fantasy fandoms are notably problematic with some of their views.
But if you write a strong story, I think you quell the naysayers. And I think, like, for example, Rogue One. Everybody loves Rogue One. Female-led protagonist. You write a good female character, it doesn't matter the character's female. Everybody will support it.
But at the end of the day, despite the argument, it was the second most watched show.
Okay.
It couldn't have been that poorly written.
People
2.7 billion minutes of
people
viewing.
watch things, and it doesn't mean that it's the best thing in the best quality.
No, but also just because something's good quality doesn't mean that it's going to continue to flourish. We see lots of terrible properties. How many Fast and Furious movies have been made because they churn out money? This show brought in viewers, billions of minutes of viewing time, second only to Percy Jackson, and it got canceled. I think it's because Disney didn't want to deal with the backlash of people disliking the lead. I mean, I really do think that that's what it is, because Disney's not in the business of not making money. They love money so much. They are willing to run franchises into the ground. We see it time and time again. It's the biggest complaint. They're not in the business of not making money. it would have made them money, 2.7 billion minutes of money, and they said, you know what? We don't want to deal with the blowback from the fans. We're just going to cancel it. We don't care. I think that is a shame because I think it had high potential, and that's not fair to the show.
I will say it's a shame that they canceled the Acolyte because I am in agreement with you on that. I feel like there was avenues that it could go down for a season 2 that it could have been better. But I think if you're trying to label it as just it was a female-led cast, ergo it got canceled, that's too simple. I think that's a little. Yeah, I think you're.
I think people
that's
are
a little too streamlined there.
I think people are onto something here.
Yeah. Also, I didn't like I forget the guy's name. The main Jedi. He was a little weird too in that I didn't like his character.
The guy from Squid Game.
Yeah, the guy from Squid Game.
Oh, you didn't watch Squid Game. Yeah.
I forget his name.
Like, listen, I'm not defending the writing of the show because I thought it was mostly a poorly written show. But we also do have reports of the actors and actresses getting threats online and being,
that is
dismissed.
true.
And so, like, I think Disney's like, you know what? Forget it. We'll just go back to Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan. That's what everybody wants. We'll go. We'll do another Darth Vader story, and like it's so freaking disappointing because I personally am so tired of the Skywalker saga.
It's funny. I want to get you and my cousin Scott in a room together
because he's probably the opposite.
He's
right?
the exact opposite.
He's like, I only want Luke and Darth, but dude, you got 9 movies of it. Give it up.
Right. It is like I don't know how much more you can.
The well's been tapped.
Right.
He's dead. Let him die.
No, he's gonna come back like Hulk Hogan.
Both these updates, perfect examples.
There you go.
They are dragging the corpses of these previous. They're like, come on back. They literally brought Han Solo. They're like, come on back. And Harrison Ford's like, why am I here? I have dementia. Like
I'm 80-some years old.
I'm 80-some years old. Let it die. Let it die.
All right. Well.
Anyway, but that's the update.
Yeah, that's our update section for you. Let it die.
Let it die. When in doubt, let it die.
All right. Well,
Brilliant.
I hope you've got a better update for us in our next segment where Mike lets you know what you should keep an eye out for with new movies, TV, and video game properties in Mike's Let It Die segment. Now, this is Mike's This Week in Entertainment. No, in all seriousness, maybe we should have a new segment.
Let It Die.
Mike's Let It Die segment. We're going to find something that you have marked for extinction.
Listen, I got heated there for a second, so I'm ready to tell other things to let it die.
All right. But we'll brainstorm on that.
We'll workshop it. But you know what shouldn't die is this next movie coming to theaters, Companion, a new sci-fi thriller about a group of friends having a weekend getaway that goes awry when the group discovers that one of their guests is a human companion android, which is the PC way of saying a sex robot.
Wait, what?
Yes.
Oh, hello.
That's the term they use in the trailer.
Hello.
But after the discovery, the companion droid starts to go rogue. And so it looks like it's the classic AI going rogue thing, but the AI happens to be a sex robot, so... but one way or another, critics are enjoying the film. It has a 92% on Rotten Tomatoes with an average score of 7.6 out of 10. So if you're looking for a quirky, sort of weird horror/sci-fi thriller, go check out Companion in theaters this week. But in television, this is what I'm looking forward to. Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man is a new Disney Plus animated series that tells an alternate timeline Spider-Man origin story, because we don't have enough of those, following a Peter Parker about to enter high school and mentored by former villain Norman Osborn, who is in other timelines and universes, of course, the Green Goblin. So it's an interesting little twist there, with Norman Osborn being the mentor instead of like a Tony Stark figure. This is not part of the MCU, so MCU fans need not apply if you don't want to, but for Spider-Man fans, the alternate history and the impressive quote-unquote moving comic book 3D cel-shaded animation should be enough for them to give it a shot. I certainly will be checking it out. That is Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man on Disney Plus this week, and that's what we're looking forward to this week in entertainment.
All right, Mikey, thank you for that segment. Not the Let It Die segment. That was This Week in Entertainment.
Let it live segment. Let it live.
Yeah. So there was the 97th Academy Award Oscar nominations announced, but we're going to do it a little bit differently. We're not going to go over all of the nominations. There's just too many to nominate.
Yeah.
But I think there's two big things that, Mike, you want to talk about. I know the first one, we teased it in the beginning, is you want to talk about Conclave.
Yeah.
So we'll do Conclave, and then we'll talk about Emilia Perez to wrap up this segment. So
yeah,
let's talk about Conclave for a minute. What you said, you rewatched it. Do you have a new take on this?
Yeah. So not necessarily a new take, but with subsequent watchings, you kind of are able to more appreciate the breadcrumbing throughout the film, and watching other people's reactions helps as well. But more than anything, I was just reminded of how compelling just the entire setup of the movie and the characters were. I think maybe I was a little harsh on it at first viewing. Watching it again, adjusting my score a little bit to like an 8 out of 10 instead of, I think I gave it like a high 7 out of 10. I'm more in like the 8 range now.
Okay. It has crossed the 8 threshold.
It has crossed the 8 threshold. Yeah, it did stand up to a second viewing, because you can more clearly see the web from the start, and you're like, oh, that's interesting how they make that reference, and then that comes back later. I do still think though that my biggest complaint is still the major plot twist.
Yeah,
it was just so left field, and I'm not going to spoil it for anybody because it is nominated for Best Picture, and I think that it deserves to be nominated. I don't think it deserves to win, but I think it deserves to be nominated, and people should check it out. But the plot twist really did come not from left field, because I can see them kind of like poking at it a little bit, but not enough to really earn the payoff that I think it was looking for. And just kind of awkward, It could have been just as compelling with almost any other, like, secret being revealed,
Yes.
rather than the secret that they chose. Because the
Yes.
secret that they chose didn't really matter to what they were, like, doing. I'm trying to be as vague as possible.
Yeah, because we didn't play the spoiler.
Right.
thing.
I'm trying to be as vague as possible, but like just.
I'll confirm your sentiments. I would say the first half of this movie is probably the best first half I've ever seen in terms of like setting up a reverse whodunit.
Yeah.
Setting the stage, setting the characters up. The setup is amazing in this movie.
Yeah.
The first half is the star of this show.
Yeah. 100%. And just seeing all the different strings and how they're getting pulled, and like I was sitting here watching it with my parents for the first time and Jordan for the first time, and they were like 100% invested, and there was like actual discussion going on. Like, well, why would that person try to do that? Why would they? And like watching that discussion, I'm like, okay, this movie is like accomplishing something. Like the drama, the mystery is working. Right.
And the acting in it is incredible between
the acting
Ralph Fiennes and Stanley Tucci. I mean, they all did a great job in this movie. I mean,
I will say Stanley Tucci, sadly, not nominated for Best Supporting Actor.
Yeah,
I think it's a little bit of a snub.
A little bit. I would agree.
I love the Tooch. I call him the Tooch for some reason. Yeah, I don't know why.
You're going to have a Tooch push? But yeah, it was. Yeah, I would agree. I would say to me, the star of the show is the first half of the movie. It's very good in setting up the drama, the stakes, and what goes on. I think I mentioned it when we saw the preview, the special preview that we went to go see a couple weeks ago. That I love the fact that just in the beginning, the Pope. Obviously, it's a conclave, so the Pope's dead.
Right.
And just one of the things, whoever came up with that shot, I just want to know. I just want to know whoever's idea it was, whether it was the DP or just another, associate producer, or maybe the director himself. But just the fact that they took the moment to get the Pope out of his bedroom after he's dead, and they just shove him in the back of an ambulance, and he's just a body at that rate. I don't know. There was something just so mortal about that. Like, we think of these people that lead religions and lead governments, we think of them as
like actual gods almost.
Almost, yeah. You think of
Like
them as
they're like the Pope is infallible.
Yeah.
Right. You know.
But in that moment, his reign is over. He's dead.
Oh,
Sorry. At that point, you're nothing more than just trash in the back of a van.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know,
and
it's very poignant to me. That was one of those, and they took like it was a good beat. It was a good like.
It was an extended scene. Yeah.
I think it was like 15 or 20 seconds that they took of the Pope's body, just kind of just.
Which I know doesn't sound long to people listening, but like
no, in the movie,
like in a movie,
a
like 15 seconds of a singular shot, like really counted out. That's long.
Yeah. Like, sorry, this guy's not the Pope anymore.
Yeah. A few things about that scene that stuck out because. You know,
obviously not spoilers because it's Conclave. The Pope has to be dead.
It also happens in the first like 2 minutes.
Yeah,
so like
not spoilers.
But you know, on second watching, I wanted to pay specific attention to certain scenes, and that was one of them because that was one of the highlights for me. And on the second watching, it gets even better because you're reminded, and you're kind of given a little hint of just the kind of quote unquote violence of everything, right? Like death is violent. The cavorting and the politicking is violent to a certain degree. The way they have to like struggle to get the ring off, and the way that they like chisel the ring apart, and I don't know if it's just I don't know if it was just like the sound bar or whatever, but like when they drop his body onto that gurney, it's like extra loud. It's like boom.
Yeah.
You know, juxtaposed with the pomp and the circumstance, the incense, the prayers, the Latin, the sealing of the door. So it's like this very violent, mortal thing that these men are about to partake in, juxtaposed with like the pomp and circumstance and the ritual of it and everything. And it's like those two things. It was just very interesting how they lined them up. And you know, watching it again, paying really close attention, I'm like, wow, like that's really cool. Like a precursor of things to come. It is a quote, not violent, like bloody violent, but like a mortal man desire violence kind of thing.
Yeah,
you know?
I mean,
look, vying for power.
Right. This is one of the most powerful positions in all the world. I mean, there's going to be some violence along the way. Not violent, but you know, drama and stakes.
Yeah. It's not a peaceful or beautiful thing.
Yeah.
So fantastic movie. Well deserving of the Best Picture nominee. Don't know if it'll win. It's going up against some heavy hitters in the category. Some of the others that I've seen: Dune Part 2, Wicked, some other movies on the list that I want to see. I've already seen 3 of them. That's pretty good so far.
Good job, Mike.
Without even trying.
Good job, Mike.
Yeah.
All right, but you want to mention Emilia Perez.
There's one in particular, Emilia Perez, getting a lot of attention, making a lot of waves, some of them good, some of them not so good. First, making history as having the most nominations for a non-English movie. It had 13 total nominations, which is incredible. I think it's only like 13 or 14 films all time that have 13 or more nominations. So entering very, very rare category there. But also notable for having the first openly trans actor to be nominated for an award as well. So the Academy kind of, breaking new ground there with most nominations for a non-English movie and for promoting LGBTQ representation. However, at the same beat as that, it's also drawing heavy, heavy criticism for a lot of different reasons. And I think it's important to talk about these things because it's one of the frontrunners to win Best Picture. It won at the Golden Globes over Wicked, which I think is absolutely wild.
Okay.
If you watch Wicked, that is a fantastic movie. I'm not talking musical. I'm talking movie. The visuals, the set design, the costumes, the music, the acting, the practical effects. They grew like millions of acres of freaking flowers for a 20-second scene. Like they built the entire wizard's head as an animatronic, like a 20-foot metal puppet head. Like just a really incredible movie from start to finish. And then Emilia Perez, look it up online. There's a song with I can't even, I don't know if you've seen the clips of it where it's like one of the songs where it's like man to woman, woman to man, penis to vagina. It's about a sex change operation. It's about a drug lord getting a sex change operation. But it's like really, really like cringy material.
Okay.
So just an overwhelmingly average, poorly performed movie.
But because it has trans issues, it's getting bumped up. Is that what we're going with here?
I think that's part of what's happening. A lot of people in and out of Hollywood are claiming that this is some kind of fake progressiveness. Viewers feel like it's like, remember, like Crash or The Green Book. Movies that aim to kind of pat themselves on the back. They're saying that this is virtue signaling. Like the Academy's like, oh, good job. We're so progressive. Look at what we did. We nominated this film. But at the same time, like the Academy is notably one of the least progressive bodies ever. You know, remember Oscars So White?
Yeah.
Like, is this just their way of being like, hey, look.
We did it.
We did it. We ended it. All the issues.
I think that could be one of the reasons. And then another thing is, and I really hate to bring politics into it, but you got to think that the election of Trump also does something to this. That kind of cranks it up to the next level. They want to show that the people that voted for Trump got it wrong. You know, you kind of know that's
like
that's a
like
factor.
it like in the back. Yeah, I mean, it could potentially be part of it. Definitely, the fact that Hollywood is like really trying to like stick it like But what's wild to me about that is Wicked is already a movie that speaks to those types of issues. Like, you didn't have to go the extra mile.
They wanted to go the extra. See, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying if Kamala Harris had won, I know this is political. I really didn't want to get into politics, but
hey, you went there.
But no, but I kind of believe it. If Kamala Harris had won the election, I think you would have gotten your wish with Wicked. I think Wicked would have been the front runner.
Yeah.
Wicked would have gotten Best Picture or whatever it is in the Golden Globes, whatever it is. Best comedy,
best musical
whatever
comedy,
it got. But it would have won the award as opposed to this movie, which is going the extra length to really step on a ledge on progressiveness.
Right.
Because Trump won.
Right. It's almost like you know, it's like that, like crazy, like overcorrection.
Yes.
Right. It is what we're seeing here. And
Hollywood does it all the time.
And the problem is, listen, I'm not one of those people that are like, keep politics out of art because art is inherently political. And we can fight about that another time, viewers, listeners, but it is. But my problem is the lack of authenticity, is that they're not doing it in a smart, nuanced way. There's a song about, one of the lines is literally penis to vagina. Like, it's tacky. It's gross. And I think the most damning thing is that the two groups of people this movie is about absolutely hate it. So, to put it bluntly, it is about a Mexican drug cartel leader getting a sex change operation to hide from his crimes.
Yep.
Which I think you can already start to see some of the issues there.
Yes.
So Mexican individuals hate the movie. LGBTQ plus people hate the movie. I'm not part of either of those groups, so I can't speak to their experiences and their views. What I've read online is that a lot of people from those groups really dislike this movie. GLAAD, the Gay and Lesbian Alliance Against Defamation, did not nominate this movie for anything, and they're like, it's bad. So,
yeah, but yet it's on the Oscars list.
But it's on the Oscars list. And separate from that issue, they also say that it sanitizes the real world violence of Mexican drug cartels, that they're using that as a backdrop to tell a quirky musical story about how a sex change operation will save this drug lord from his crimes.
It almost seems like a weird...
Does that not sound offensive to you?
It sounds like a weird Mad Lib gone wrong. Like...
Yeah.
Insert medical procedure. Insert...
Right. Like
drug... Insert crime.
Pick an ethnicity. Pick a crime. Pick a medical procedure. Boom.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, so you hear all these things. This is a French director making a movie about Mexico with no research or local acting talent. Like literally, it is just batting 1,000 on like ways to piss people off and upset different groups of people. And on top of all that, it's not even like, look at Wicked. It's got like rave reviews. I don't think hardly anybody had anything bad to say about it. This is pulling like a 70-some% on Rotten Tomatoes. The average score is just under a 7 out of 10. Like,
Yeah.
it's not even like I would understand if it's like, whoa, 9 out of 10, 9.5 out of 10. Like, it's a breathtaking movie. Like, it's not even reviewed well. So the fact
Welcome to the Academy.
it's so frustrating because it's going to be a movie like Crash or The Green Book where it's like, we did it, guys. We ended racism, race relations, transphobia,
drug cartels.
We beat the war on drugs. We did it, guys. Hollywood with our movies. It's like, what are you doing?
All right.
Anyway.
it's very disheartening. Yeah.
So I figured we had to talk about it because it will probably win, and it's probably going to continue to be an issue until after the Oscars.
Yeah, the Academy does not make smart decisions.
No. You know who else doesn't make smart decisions?
Yes, the people in the non-fortune cookie odd news.
We've been talking about cool and its ramifications and how it applies to the hip scene. But maybe you could give us some examples now of the opposite of cool, uncool. Just exactly what is uncool?
My nipples look like milk duds.
Holy shnikes.
It's time for the non-fortune cookie odd news.
It's not of this world. I don't know exactly what it is or what it's doing, but this is not human intelligence, okay? It's not human intelligence we're facing!
How you doing? Me? I'm doing great.
Mandada basata. I don't make this stuff up.
I'll take a pound of nuts.
That's a lot of nuts. That'll be $4, baby. You want fries with that?
I seen the celery dance across the baseball fields.
You had me at Meat Tornado.
No, go past this. Past this part. In fact, never play this again.
Okay. What does that mean?
And now it's time for the non-fortune cookie odd news.
So sit back, get everything you need to get from the kitchen. Be sure and empty the bladders, go to the bathroom, because you're in for a hell of a ride.
Woo, odd news.
That's right, everyone. It's time for the non-fortune cookie odd news here. In this segment, Rich researches the news, he reads the news, and I react to the news. He finds a weird and wacky story and keeps it hidden from me, which ensures that all of my reactions are my genuine gut reactions to hearing this story for the very first time. I don't know what's about to happen. You guys don't know what's about to happen. And even Rich doesn't know what's about to happen because these stories always take us down wacky and wild paths. And I'm ready to get started. Where are we heading to?
Do you even have to ask that one?
Now, who is this guy in Florida?
It's Florida, and they're crazy. I should have guessed.
This one, though, is a little bit of an update, or rather, I guess maybe like a copycat crime or something like this.
Oh, no.
Because we have now found a second instance. This is a completely different story and a different odd news perpetrator here, in which the famous bag that is labeled definitely not a bag full of drugs was used according to police. Yes, so we had this bag featured in a previous story if you got the video feed up.
It is exactly what it sounds like. It is a bag, and on it is printed in very large font, definitely not a bag full of drugs. You know what I didn't notice the first time is the odd capitalization. Definitely and not are both capitalized.
Well, that's the emphasis. Definitely not.
But then bag and full are not, and then drugs is capitalized.
Well, everyone wants the word drugs.
I think it should all be initial caps, no?
Look, we're going for a little bit of muted tones here, Mike.
Oh, okay.
All right. We can't capitalize everything.
Okay, we're going subtle.
Yes.
All right. Because that's the definition of subtlety.
Right. So 3 months ago, we had the original story where an Oregon woman was found with drugs stashed inside that pouch and was caught. This is a completely new story from Florida. 31-year-old Taryn Acree was collared Saturday night. She was a passenger in a U-Haul van that was searched by cops. Cops decided to search her belongings, which she pulled out the definitely not a bag full of drugs bag. There it is on the screen again.
You know what's hilarious? If it was just a regular bag, like a non-see-through bag that was like nondescript, she may have gotten away with it.
Maybe. But in there, this is what the cops found. They found needles, a digital scale, and meth. So there you go. Hello. Yep.
Yeah, that definitely sounds like drugs.
Yeah. That bag is lying.
Ah. Lying.
Twice.
That lying bag, those are the worst kinds of bags.
This bag has now lied twice in the odd news.
Bastards.
3 strikes, and I think we need to get it off of the shelves on Target.
Like, 1, who was selling that? And 2, why?
It's probably somewhere.
And why do they keep buying it? Why, like...
Oh, this'll work?
Yeah, right?
Cops won't search this at all.
Not at all.
It says it right there. Not drugs.
I think they should sell an updated version that says, no need to search, definitely not a bag of drugs.
Yeah.
Just add that little disclaimer before. You don't need to search.
And then the cops will go, oh, I guess I don't need to search.
Oh, I don't need to check this one out.
Yeah. There was methamphetamine and assorted drug paraphernalia inside the bag that Taryn Acree held. She is going to be charged with possession of meth with the intent to sell and deliver.
Oh, that's a lot then in there, right?
Which, that is a felony.
Yeah, I think you only get charged with that if you have, like, a large amount.
I think it's
right?
because of the amount and the fact that she had scales on her.
Oh,
I bet you that
would make
is
sense.
intent to sell.
Yeah. Oof, damn.
Yeah. Boy, the bag can hold so much. I just thought I would throw it in there.
Wait, hold on, though. Really, how big is that bag? Because it said needles, a scale, and the drugs. Like, I wish we had something for, like, a size reference. Like, is this like a small, like, handbag, or is this like a tote?
No, I think it's like a pencil case size, like in school.
Can you fit a digital scale in there?
I think one of yours. I think you know.
Oh yeah, because I do have that small digital scale. That's true.
Like the one. Yeah, I've seen you use one.
I do. I have a small digital scale.
And not for drugs.
No, it's for much less exciting. It's for you weigh out your portions so you know exactly how much you're getting.
That would fit in that. Yeah.
Potentially. Yeah.
And you tag that along with a good amount of meth. That looks like you're trying to sell. That makes sense.
Damn.
So unfortunately
they should stop using those bags.
Yeah. Unfortunately for Taryn Acree, that bumps it up to possession of meth with the intent to sell or deliver, which is a felony. She cannot get bail, so she is stuck in the county jail.
Damn.
So, yeah, that is not a good night for her, unfortunately.
Nope, not at all.
Yep, I know that bag is stylish, but I don't think it's worth the lockup.
Fashion is not worth the felony. Fashion felonies.
Yes.
That bag is a fashion felony.
Yes. Okay. You know what? Do I got time? I think I got time for one quick.
I think so.
A quick one more to wrap up our show, and it is another Florida story.
Now, who is this guy in Florida?
It's Florida, and they're crazy.
I know you love these kind of stories, Mike.
Okay.
We are going to talk about 41-year-old William Janot.
Janot? I don't know.
Well, you know now. And 38-year-old Diane Clausen.
Okay.
They were a very romantic couple who decided to get it on.
Oh no.
On a sidewalk on a stretch of 2 lanes on US Route 1.
Well, it was very erotic. Yes, indeed. It was erotic.
I've got balls of steel.
This is right off like a highway.
That's a pretty big road.
Yeah.
And the fact that there's sidewalks indicates that it's a more populated area. They don't just slap down sidewalks in the middle of the Florida swamps.
No.
You know?
But this is a very highly
busy road.
Yeah, this is a busy road. And they're deciding, you know what? Let's go for it right now.
I'll never
bend over, honey.
I'll never understand the sidewalk aspect of it.
Yeah.
It just seems wildly impractical and uncomfortable.
According to Officer Bryce Sonneson, he said that he pulled over to confront the couple at 4 a.m. on Tuesday morning.
Wow. There was a bit of a nastiness last night, yes? Some very extreme nastiness, yes? Yes.
What are people's lives? What are people's lives?
How does? Don't you guys have jobs? Do you guys not have regular Monday to Friday jobs?
If you're screwing on the sidewalk, you definitely do not have a job. I feel like there's a direct correlation between screwing on sidewalks and not having like regular or even like an intent to have a job.
How do you meet up at Tuesday at 4 a.m. in the morning?
That's insane.
Is that like at the end of your Monday night bender, or is this the beginning of Tuesday?
But also, what does your Tuesday look like that you're starting at 4 a.m.? You're just going straight through,
straight to banging.
Man, 4 a.m.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't think you'd actually show up.
Well, I mean, or maybe they're coming from like a late shift. Maybe they work together.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Is this the end of Monday?
It might be the end of Monday.
Or is this the beginning of Tuesday?
Yeah. But like, what if they're coming? What if they are working and they're coming from like a late night shift at like a Walmart or something? You know?
Yeah, I don't know. That's why I want to know that. Yeah.
But just right there on the sidewalk, like
in front of U.S. Route 1, a 2-lane stretch.
Did they not have a car? Do they not have like apartments that they could go to, or like, a motel room?
I'm going to
like
tell you
anything?
something. I'm going to tell you something right here, Mike.
Yeah.
I'm looking at this police report, and nowhere does it mention their car.
Did they walk there?
Yeah. It doesn't mention what happened to
their
car.
They're like, hey, babe, want to bang? Yeah, meet me at mile marker 3. Like, I'm like, like what?
Yes, that's
our favorite mile marker.
Mile marker 69.
Hey,
there you go. Ah, that's how you use the numbers to your favor,
like, right?
Yeah.
But like, how do you? That's why I was on the sidewalk. They walked there. It makes perfect sense.
There's no mention of a car here.
They walked there.
It does say in the police report from Officer Bryce Sonneson. You're gonna love this crack reporting here.
Okay.
The 2 suspects continued intercourse until I activated my emergency lights.
Why is that so formal?
This is Officer Bryce Sonneson. He's got a little bit of a power trip in him.
Oh yeah.
He also mentions that I confronted William Janot and he put his penis back inside of his pants.
Oh, okay. Whew. Oh man, at the beginning of that sentence, I was like, "What?"
I've got balls of steel.
Yes, I confronted him.
I reacted because I heard "put his penis back in," and I was like, "Whoa!" I was like, "What are you about to say?"
Oh, my balls!
No, he was just stowing it. Okay.
Yes. And I also confronted Diane Clausen to tell her to put down her dress. It's just really.
Did she?
Yes.
Okay.
It just really seems. I don't know. It seems like he's really like.
Very like formally detailed.
Right. He's really explaining everything, and I don't know if it's necessary.
He placed his penis back into his pants and zipped up his zipper all the way to the top.
Like, are these cops getting paid by the word?
Yes. They have a word. They have a word count. Like the lead detective is like, listen, I want 150 words by the end of the day.
Yes.
On every report.
Don't you double space it? Or what's the trick?
You do 2 spaces after every period to make the periods like 13.5.
Don't do that. No, I want
Times New Roman 12-point font, 1.5 spaces, 1-inch margins. If I see 1.25-inch margins, I'm failing that report.
Yes,
I'm sending you back out on the beat.
Exactly. And that's pretty much it. Yeah, they were banging on the side of this 2-lane stretch of U.S. Route 1 on the sidewalk. They were both arrested for committing lewd and lascivious acts. I know you love that.
Classic.
Yep. We're back to lewd and lascivious.
Lewd and lascivious. Not just lewd, not just lascivious. It's lewd and lascivious.
That's right.
That's how you know it's serious.
You get it right.
Yeah.
On a random conclusion note here, Clausen is from Key West, Florida, but Janot has his residence listed in Michigan. How the hell did these 2 meet?
That's a really long walk.
And how does this guy not have a car? He's from Michigan. What the hell?
He flew. He got an Uber from the airport. So where Route 1? Where on Route 1 was this in? Did you say Key West?
Yes, this is Key West, Florida.
This was in Key West?
Yes.
Oh, that's a very populated area.
Yes.
It's very touristy.
Yes.
I've been to Key West.
And this you missed this couple. You could have had some fun.
I clearly missed them. I'd be scared though. No, I can't say that.
Okay.
There's roosters everywhere.
Well,
just roaming about.
Well, there's another cock.
Yeah. Well, I didn't want to say it. I wasn't sure if I was allowed.
Oh. Yes, you are.
I guess that kind of cock. Yeah.
Yes.
They're just strutting about.
Right, and just meeting up with other people.
Yeah. His chicken crossed the road.
Yeah. Yeah. Why?
What did he find when he got there? A police officer.
Yeah.
Put that away. Yeah, man. There's a lot of loose chickens in Key West. It's really frightening.
Well, another one just got locked up.
Yeah,
because they got
that cop doing the Lord's work.
They got arrested for lewd and lascivious behavior. So
unbelievable.
There you go. I figured you liked that one.
And right there in Key West, man. That's a very populated area.
Yeah,
a lot of tourists.
I figured you like your sidewalk banging and lewd and lascivious behaviors.
It always throws me for a loop because it just seems wildly impractical.
Yeah,
like I don't know.
How did you meet up?
He must have traveled to Key West and found something like, found her at like a bar and like on a Monday night.
And meet me at mile 69 in a couple hours.
Yeah, right.
I'll see you there.
Unreal.
There is a way to see us every week, and that is through the Crispy Noodle podcast. If you enjoyed this show and you like what you heard, make sure you go to our website, thecrispynoodle.com. Make sure you follow us on all the social media hubbubaloo. But most importantly, make sure you have a way to get every episode of the Crispy Noodle podcast sent to you every week. And it's going to be very important because next week's our Super Bowl preview episode. You're going to want to tune in between our predictions and my weird bets that you could probably make on sports books and stuff like that. So tune in on next week's show. 2 main ways to get subscribed to our podcast feed. The first one is on YouTube. Go to our YouTube page, go to Crispy Noodle Podcast, and hit that red subscribe button so that the video podcast gets sent to your YouTube account every week, and you'll be ready to go. Second main way to do it is on Spotify. We put the video podcast up on Spotify, and also you can put Spotify on in the background and listen to us as an audio-only podcast. And then if you have Android Auto or Apple CarPlay, you can take us on the go with you while you're driving. If you're driving from Michigan to Florida to have your rendezvous.
Hey, when you got to get to mile marker 69.
Yeah, you can put us on.
The Crispy Noodle will get you there.
That's right. So you can listen to us during your drive down to Florida. Why not?
I don't know why I'm so stupid. But you can get in touch with us individually on X, formerly known as Twitter, to share your sports entertainment and odd news stories. I'm at Mikey Costanzo, MikeYcostanzo.
And I'm at Rich Liebig, RichLiebig. Find us on X. Let us know what's happening. If there's a topic you want us to talk about on next week's episode, or if you have a Super Bowl bet that you want me to research, let me know on X. And if we mention it, we'll give you the sausage shout out for doing it. So why not? Nothing to lose. All right, there you go. That is it. We got to wrap it up. This has been the Crispy Noodle podcast. Let us be the Crispy Noodle in your vegetarian salad of life and boring news. That'll do it. We'll see you guys next week.
See you guys.
Later. Bye-bye, all you fine peoples. Good night.
Some of us have great stories, pretty stories that take place at lakes with boats and friends and noodle salad. A lot of people, that's their story. Good times, noodle salad.